Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas to everyone watching this video except for Ohio State fans. Now, as many of you know, early on in December, we set a goal, and that goal on this channel was to reach 250,000 subscribers before Christmas. But we wound up crushing that goal, so I said, okay, we gotta have something to aim for, so I said, let's shoot for 260K. And as to when I'm speaking, as to when you're currently watching this, we are about exactly 100 subscribers away from 260K. As you can see right here, I'll pop it up on the screen right here, and I'm almost 98% certain by the time Christmas is over, by 11:30, we're gonna hit that goal. So I guess technically we did it. Hey, I'm gonna count it, and I just wanna come by here and say, one, Merry Christmas, all that corny stuff, you know how it goes. And two, thank you so much to all the new subscribers. Honestly, I can't believe we hit that goal. I set it real high, and we did it. I don't have too much more to say. Just, I'm beyond thankful for all your support, and yeah, let's get into it. I was doing some thinking last night, and I thought to myself, I don't know if I've ever been this excited to see how head coaches, not players, not my favorite player on a favorite team, but to see how head coaches are going to perform next season. Because come on now, we all got that one guy we're looking forward to next season. We want to see how this new 5-star recruit's going to play. We want to see how our new quarterback's going to do in year 2, but we never talk about the coaches. For example, nobody's sitting there going, man, I can't wait to see how Kirby Smart and Nick Saban do in their 10th year at Alabama and Georgia. You see what I'm saying? And the main reason for that is because we never really see too many big head coaching changes, at least with a great variety. We don't see a lot of big time names on the move that was up until this season. I'm not beating around the bush. We got to talk about the coaching landscape in college football and how it changed drastically within the blink of an eye. I'm excited to get into this one because we got big names everywhere. It's not just in the SEC, Big Ten, it's everywhere around the country. So if you're a Pac-12 fan, Big Ten fan, ACC fan, SEC fan, if you're a fan anywhere in any region of the US, you're going to be entertained by this video. We got a lot to get into. I don't got time to waste. All right, Matt, shut the crap up. Without further ado, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, first thing is first. I do want to bring this up because somebody tagged it to me. I already forgot. I can't find the notification. You know who you are. Geoff Swartz tweeted out, I don't even know who he is, but he tweeted out the Pac-12 quarterbacks heading into next season. At first glance, I was like, I'm not even going to read this. It's the Pac-12. They suck. They're the worst conference in the Power 5. But then when I looked at the names, I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. We got to talk about it. Bo Nix at Oregon, Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, Dante Moore, maybe, DJ Ugwoegbuka at Oregon State. At Colorado, you got Shedeur Sanders, which is Deion Sanders' son, and Utah, Cam Rising, if he comes back, which he probably will. You can say what you want about the Pac-12, but that is a heck of a lineup. You're talking about a Heisman Trophy winner. Bo Nix will be a Heisman candidate. Michael Penix Jr., more than likely, will also be a Heisman candidate. And then the interesting one, Shedeur Sanders. Well, really, you got two interesting ones, DJ Ugwoegbuka and Shedeur Sanders. Those are your wild cards because they're either going to be really, really good or really, really bad. Probably no in-betweens. Regardless of how you feel about these guys, there's one thing for sure. It's going to be exciting watching the Pac-12 again. I can't remember the last time I've been excited to keep up with the Pac-12. It had to be over 10 years ago. And saying 10 years, that's at minimum. It's probably more so of 15. And I'm not excited because I think all these guys are going to be great. I'm excited because you don't know how all of them are going to play, but they're big-time names. Say what you want about DJ Uiagalelei, but big-time names. Say what you want about Shedeur Sanders, big-time name. But just like this comment says, though, and this sounds like something I would say, it's still the Pac-12, though. Oh, man, Pac-12 fans, you're not going to like me for this, but it's the cold, hard truth. Your defense is terrible and your conference is terrible. Me, myself, and many others, we like to make fun of the Ohio State defense for being soft, but the Pac-12, every defense on every single team, they're awful. The defense in the Pac-12 is pitiful. There's no other explanation I need outside the fact Bo Nix at Auburn, he didn't even come close to putting up the numbers he did at Oregon. That is the only proof I need. You see it right here. Look at the difference. The difference is you're not playing Alabama. You're not playing Georgia. You're not playing LSU. You're not playing all these teams in the SEC. I could talk about these quarterbacks and how I think they're going to do for at least 10 to 15 more minutes, but we got to get a move on to the main topic, the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video, the coaching carousel. Man, I really do want to talk about the Pac-12 quarterbacks some more, but we got to move on. A tweet was posted not too long ago, a few days ago, which head coach will have the most success with their new team. We're not even going to talk about the head coach of Louisville because no one cares. Let's start off with these bottom two guys. As you can see on your screen, you got two big time, and I'm going to label it as big time hires in the Big Ten. Big time hire number one, you got Luke Fickell, the former head coach coach at Cincinnati that made the playoff. He's going to Wisconsin. That one doesn't really intrigue me because I know what I'm going to get out of Luke Fickell. He's not going to be on the hot seat. Wisconsin's going to give him minimum 2 years to get it together. Luke Fickell is what I would like to label as a solid head coach. He's not going to go down as one of the greatest of all time, but he's a really good one. At Wisconsin, he's going to average anywhere from 8 to 11 wins a season. He's never going to win or compete for a championship. However, he could compete for a Big Ten championship. That's about as good as it gets at Wisconsin. Sorry, I'm not sorry, but y'all just can't compete with the big dogs. A lot of people take that the wrong way, but in reality, there's nothing wrong with that because who can compete with the Georgias and Alabamas of the world? Not many people can, so take that how you want. But also in the Big Ten, not too far away from Wisconsin, we got Matt Rhule going to Nebraska. This one is the most intriguing to me, maybe more intriguing than Deion Sanders. We'll talk about that in just a second. The reason this one fascinates me so much is because Nebraska is a poverty program. They are flat out terrible, and when I say that, I mean it. They suck. I told all these Nebraska fans last year when you went 3-9 and you were trying to tell me, well, Matt, we're the best 3-9 team in the country. You were going to suck this year, and yeah, I was right. The reason Nebraska sucks isn't because they're lacking talent. They got talent. It's a culture issue. This situation reminds me a lot of Nick Saban in 2006 when he was going to Alabama. Nebraska has a great fan base. They're known for being good in the past, but like Alabama in 2006, they were really struggling. Or not they were really struggling, they are currently struggling. You get what I'm trying to say. With Matt Rhule, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than most people anticipate. I know how these Nebraska fans think and operate. They're going, hey, we got our new head coach, we got our savior, we're going to win 10 games next year. And that's not going to happen. Nebraska fans, you have got to, and let me repeat this, you got to lower your expectations. This, and when I say this, I'm talking about the Nebraska program, it's a crap show. It's a hot mess, and it is going to take at minimum more than 1 year for Matt Rhule to turn this into a 9 or 10 win team. Best case, absolute best case next year, Nebraska goes 8-4. You're not winning 9 games. There is no shot, not a single chance in this world Nebraska wins 9 games next year. You can throw that out the window, and I think it's pushing it saying they're going to go 8-4. The thing with Matt Rhule, though, is, okay, we know he knows what he's doing. At Baylor, he did a good job. So at the college level, he's got a decent background. Oh, man, and the reason I'm laughing about this is it can go 2 different ways. With Luke Fickell, the reason I didn't talk about him too much is because it's only going to go one way. Luke Fickell's not going to struggle at Wisconsin. He's never going to have a season where he goes 4-8 or 5-7. That's just not going to happen. Is he going to win a championship? No, not even close, but he's going to win 8 to 11 games every single season, like I said. With Matt Rhule, though, at Nebraska, you can make a great case and argument. They could either win 2 games next year or 8 games. This could go a bunch of different ways, and that's the main reason I enjoy watching this Nebraska football team. Not because it's great football, because it's funny to laugh at. You can't make this stuff up. They sell out their stadium every single Saturday, and they have one of the worst football teams in the country. That's why, to me at least, it is a weird situation. I'll put it this way, and we'll get a move on. We may come back to it. Matt Rhule, he's either going to thrive at Nebraska, take him to a 10-win football team, or he's going to fall flat on his face. No in-betweens. Keep your eyes on that. And I'm an SEC fan. I'm from Alabama, yet I find the Nebraska situation entertaining. I know if I do, a lot of other people out there do as well. Moving on to our next 2, and I said the best 2 for last, and you could say these are probably the most 2 intriguing at that. We got Hugh Freeze. Yeah, this is about to be interesting. And Deion Sanders, a.k.a., say it with me now, Prime Time. Yeah, I know, it's getting corny now. I gotta quit saying that. But let's talk about Hugh Freeze first. I ain't talked about him in a while. And I know what some of you are saying, Matt, you're really about to talk about Deion Sanders. You've talked about him every single day, and I have, but I haven't talked about how I think he's gonna do. We haven't even had time to talk about that because we've been talking about all the other chaotic mess going on with this school. Anyways, let's talk about Hugh Freeze first. Hugh Freeze in Auburn just feels like a perfect fit. It's a shady person going to a shady school. Hugh Freeze's situation reminds me a lot of Matt Rhule's. He's either going to fall flat on his face and everybody's going to laugh at him and he's going to be fired in 2 years, or he's going to thrive and take Auburn to the promised land. The difference with Hugh Freeze, though, compared to Matt Rhule, is Hugh Freeze has the talent and the guys to win a championship in 3 or 4 years. Whoa. Hold on. Am I saying Auburn's going to win a championship? Absolutely not. What I am saying, though, there is a possibility. Whereas with Matt Rhule in Nebraska, there's no way they win a championship in 3 or 4 years. With Hugh Freeze in Auburn, with that talent, coaching staff, the facilities, yeah, there's a shot. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's not as far-fetched as some people think it may be. Auburn is one of those football teams where they can get hot and have a lucky season. Next thing you know, they're 13-0. That's just the Auburn brand. They're mediocre for 8 to 9 years, and they have that one special year. At least that's how I've came to know it at this point. The thing with Hugh Freeze, though, is it's only going to be a-okay if he's winning games. I say this all the time and it holds true. As long as you're winning games, it doesn't matter if you're a terrible person. It doesn't matter the shady stuff you've done in the past. As long as you win, everybody's going to overlook that. Hugh Freeze isn't being paid $5 million a year to have great morals and integrity. He's there to win games. Simple as that. Same thing with Urban Meyer. Say what you want about Urban Meyer. You may not like him as a person, but he is a great football coach. And at the end of the day, that's their job. Be a great football coach. Getting back on track with this, as long as Hugh Freeze is winning 9, 10 games a year, going to be a-okay. But if he starts losing, yeah, that's when all these fans are going to bring up all the stuff he's done in the past. And y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, well, I'm not finna talk about it. You can go look it up. The one major difference, though, with Hugh Freeze compared to all these other coaches you're currently looking at, he's got the most pressure. I know what you're sitting there saying, Matt, why does he have the most pressure? And that's because at his school, they need to and they want to and expect to win right away. They don't care that Auburn was terrible last year. They want to win now. Whereas at Nebraska, they would be okay if they went 7-5 next year. Same thing with Wisconsin, and especially the same thing with Deion Sanders in Colorado. Nebraska, Wisconsin, Colorado, they go 7-5. That's a W because that's their first year with these new head coaches. For Auburn, though, Hugh Freeze goes 7-5. It's not going to be the same feeling. For those of you that don't know, Auburn doesn't have the standards of Alabama, but going 7-5, it's still unacceptable. Auburn fans do not expect to win a championship every single year, but they do expect to compete. If you disagree with that statement, I'll offer you this. Gus Malzahn pretty much won 8 games, 9 games every single season, took him to a national championship, and they fired him because it wasn't good enough. So yeah, Hugh Freeze, he got a tad bit more pressure, or not even a tad bit, a lot more. It doesn't make sense to me though, because this Auburn football team has been depleted heavily and they don't have the talent to compete. Can they compete with Missouri, Vanderbilt, Florida, maybe LSU, Arkansas? Yes. But can they compete with Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia? Heck to the no. For those of you that don't know, Auburn plays Georgia and Alabama every single year. So right off the bat, you can almost chalk those games up as 2 L's. And I get it, Alabama and Georgia, 2 of the best teams in the country, but Auburn fans do not care. You at least got to beat one of them. My entire life, I've never really been a big Hugh Freeze fan when it comes to his personality, but I will tell you this. I do believe in him as a head coach. I told you since day one, I didn't believe in Brian Harsin, but I do believe in Hugh Freeze. I'll come back to that in just a second. Last but not least, let's talk about old Prime Time. Or shall I say Coach Prime? That's what he likes to be referred to as, my bad. You know, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. There is no pressure here whatsoever. As long as Colorado wins 4, and that's crazy to say, but literally, as long as they win 4, 5 games, he's going to be all right. Here's the tricky part with this. Do I expect Colorado and Deion Sanders to go 8-4, maybe 9-3 next season? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you this much. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. You know why? Because it all goes back to this. The Pac-12 is horrible. But also, I gotta remind myself this. Colorado is also horrible. I think Deion's gonna do an outstanding job, but looking at all these head coaches, he's inheriting the biggest mess out of them all. The main thing for Deion Sanders in Colorado is they're gonna have to wait at least 2 to 3 years to get their talent in. That's gonna be the slowest rebuilding process out of them all, in my humble opinion. With all that being said, let's answer the question. Which head coach will have the most success with their new team? I'm going to say off the top of my head, Wisconsin and Luke Fickell, they go 7-5 next season. I like that. For Matt Rhule, Nebraska, I think they're going to have some big time wins. Couple of upsets thrown in there. I'm going to say they go 7-5 as well. For Deion Sanders in Colorado, as much as I respect him, I think everybody needs to lower their expectations. They go 5-7. And last but not least, I'll say the best for last. I got Hugh Freeze going. I wanted to say 8-4 so bad, but I got to remind myself they have a tough schedule, so I'm going to go with 7-5. Once again, I got Luke Fickell, Matt Rhule, and Hugh Freeze all going 7-5, and Deion Sanders going 5-7. With that being said, you're saying, so Matt, you got a 3-way tie? And not really, and let me explain. Hugh Freeze going 7-5 at Auburn in the SEC West is much, and I mean much more impressive than Matt Rhule and Luke Fickell going 7-5. I shouldn't have to explain it. You get the point. The SEC West, it's a little bit harder. And when I say a little bit harder, I'm being sarcastic. It's a lot harder. All in all, though, I think these are pretty dang good head coaches. And if you're a fan of any of these programs, I'd be excited. I tell you this much. I'm just excited we're getting some more variety with these head coaches going out west in the Pac-12, like Deion Sanders and Lincoln Riley. It's given me another reason to keep up with and watch the Pac-12, which I do enjoy when they're relevant. They haven't exactly been too relevant the past 10 years, so therefore I haven't been keeping up with them as much. I am very curious. Let me know your thoughts on all these head coaches. Who do you think is going to do the best and what their record going to be? But yeah, Merry Christmas. Hope you had a good one. All right, bye.